just to invest to settle our differences. This is where Western and Kincha. It's called McLean's Hall, named after Captain George McLean. Right, let's step outside. I will explain why Britain stayed on this land for that long. So let's look up on top of the hill there. Straight, we'll see a white structure with a brown roof up on the hill. That is Fort William. They had William and Victoria serving as a security backup for this castle. Great Britain was on this land from 1664 up until 1960, when Ghana became a republic. And it's because they came here prepared for slave trafficking. They had two watchtowers, William and Victoria. I'll show you Victoria before the tour ends. They had 150 soldiers in this castle, as well as soldiers in the fort. Once they saw enemy ships coming from the sea or intruders from the land, they had left the castle in the mornings with red flags, afternoons reflections from mirrors, evenings torch. Soldiers here, as they see this signal, mount their cannons you see spread around the castle. They load them with gunpowder. Pushing in the cannon balls and lighting fire at the back, a shot perforating holes in the incoming ships. This explains why Britain stayed for that long, because the mission, the place was heavily guarded, heavily fortified. The ash shop you see was the barracks, all the guys for the soldiers. Center part served as their canteen. This end, once upon a time, became a prison yard here in Ghana. If you see the entrance, you see the coat of arms is still right there. But it gets to a time people begin to agitate. How can they enslave Africans here? You hold our ancestors captive in here, and in this same building they choose to imprison Ghanaians. They had to relocate their prisons. Before the Anchor Falls and the Salon prisons we see today came into existence, this end, once upon a time, held Ghanaians as prisoners. Today, it is the art shop, the center part is a coffee shop of the castle. Let's see the governor. So we saw the male slave dungeon. I don't know if you're able to count the holes on the walls that serve as a source of light. So the first to the fifth has a total of 9. So 9 holes on the walls will serve as a source of light and ventilation for up to 1,000 men down here. Count the windows there, we have 9 windows, source of light and ventilation for one person, just the living room. Right. In there we have the bedroom there. Other group is there right now. Just talk about it here. Just walk through for you. You count 5 windows there, making 14. You step out, you count 2, totally 16. One man will be up here, surrounded with 16 windows. Close to 1,000 men down there, 9 holes in the walls. I always say it speaks to the power play. Up here, one man had this heaven-like thing. Others were watching down there. They worship right on top of them. The castle itself was built on the god of the natives, the power. Let's move down to see the church they built. The church. That is quite how we saw the church chamber. So from where this is situated, before you enter, you'd actually see them, hear them, smell them before you enter the church. I always ask the same question over and over again. What kind of way at all were they going worshiping here? Doing exactly what's right and neat them. This doubled as a classroom block for the mulattoes, the children born out of the rape, were educated here. Today it is a children's library open after school hours for the kids in the community to come read while they're in school. Let's see the female slave dungeons, then the dog will return.
Yeah.
This is the view of the underground tunnel. In the fifth chamber, I mentioned that there was an entrance to a tunnel that connected to the door from the tent.
Hello!
these Europeans were not going to lead them through the tunnel. For security reasons, they were not going to pass close to 1,000 men through the courtyard. Because if you did and they decided to misbehave, you could not contain them. So during shipment, they would move the tunnel to a station at vantage point to have a head count to confirm the numbers moving through the tunnel to the European. If you go to the sealed 1804, just like the entrance, to mark the end of slave trafficking in this country. It's small space down there. This is an initial of no return. Something very small, the enslaved African had to bend, squeezing through this one at a time. They sealed that end because the waves were coming here to disrupt business. They have to seal this end to relocate the door to make a much suitable end. Let's see what they took it over. This is a punishment cell for the women. You saw the condemned cell for the men. Between 7 to 10 days, they fed once a day to them. And this served as the only source of light and ventilation. Punishment cell 4. The hole we see there is where we urinate and everything was done out there. I always used to tell my people to treatment for the women. It's just like the fact that you were sexually abused. Women menstruate. Now, it was held in here up to 4 months. You have to beat that side, not less than 4 times. Picture a lady today in the era of sanitary, who have been also just a knee, not getting a chance to take a shower at the end of one day. That is unfortunate. Now, me visit someone here 4 months in the only chance she gets to take a shower was that she was singled out. The crumbs that sometimes accompany menstruation, the infections that we get in here, that is why it's a treatment for them. If these women were sexually abused, definitely some were found pregnant. If we're fortunate to see pregnant here, before they took them outside into brick houses where they take good care of them until they need to breastfeed their babies for some time. Then the babies were separated from their mothers. The mothers returned to the family for connection. These babies were considered as they had they were kept, taken care of, educated in the church. Up on top of the games weekend. Remember I mentioned that they took as a classroom for one class. They would grow to be Irish for big men to have inside. Some themselves became slave merchants because of what they saw. If unfortunately you were not seen pregnant here, and while still very war, nobody was going to take care of pregnancy during that voyage. Nobody was going to purchase one. So the question is compensation. As the trade was abolished, people were compensated with compensation. Slave masters. Slave masters were given compensation because they seem to have to negotiate business. They are taking 6% and they are taking compensation. Up until now, there are also reparations. There's this belief that for the harm committed against humanity, there should be compensation. 3 years ago, the president of Ghana, John Paul, he admonished African leaders to come together to demand compensation. And once he said that, I had a conversation with my boss, reparations should be given to Africans in the diaspora. They happen to be the direct descendants of the enslaved Africans. My boss argued otherwise. He believes Africans here equally deserve compensation. To him, Africa would have been better off had it not been the impact of the slave traffic. And he needed the able-bodied men. What happened to the families he left behind? The children, the old men, the old now, like point forward, split them into two. First, you should go to those in the diaspora. Like it or not, they are the direct descendants of the enslaved Africans. The ones giving Africans here to lead should be directly invested